Hello everybody, in today's episode I will show you how to replace the valve cover gasket on your Volkswagen Passat B5 on 5.4 or on any car, because this method is working for almost any car out there which is using a 4-cylinder engine. In order to complete this job you have to remove all the bolts around the cover. As you can see here we have a lot of bolts all around the cover. After that you will have to remove the cover from the timing belt, this one, and it's held in by two clamps, one on each side. And after that you will have to remove the hose from the PC valve. You will be able to remove it using some pliers. You just have to pry the clamp open. And to complete this job you only need a toolkit like I have right here, and after that we can start replacing the valve cover gasket. The reason why I decided to replace the valve cover gasket is because I saw a lot of oil coming from the valve cover. As you can see, all in this area there is a lot of dripping oil down to the motor, and I don't like this. And also it's not an expensive way to fix some oil leaks. Okay guys, this is the valve cover gasket, and from what I can see it's not in a very bad condition, but I'm going to replace it anyway because it only cost $5 or $10. And in this side where the oil leak was, there is a lot of oil, and maybe that's the problem. I hope after changing this there will be no problem with oil leaks again. Okay, let's remove it completely from the car. To remove the gasket, all you have to do is to lift it up from the engine. It's a very easy job, and in my case the gasket was also held in by some sealant, and I will also install a new sealant onto the new gasket, because in this way there is no risk of oil dripping again. Just make sure nothing falls into the engine. This is my new gasket, and it's made by deteriorate. It's a very good and quality gasket, and also the sealant that I'm about to install onto the gasket, it's also made by deteriorate, so there will be no problem with oil leaks again. Just make sure when you install it into the correct position, and normally there is no way that you can install it wrong, but you never know. Now what we have to do is to clean all around the valve cover. As you can see there is the old glue, and we have to clean it all around, and in order to clean it I will also remove the EGR valve and the intake manifold, because in this way I will have more room to work with. Okay, so in order to clean around the valve I used a very fine sandpaper and a little of gasoline, and this is how all came out. It's not a very hard job. I used this sandpaper, and after that I clean it with a towel. This is also how yours should look before installing the new gasket. And I also cleaned the head gasket cover. It's in a very good condition now. And all we have to do is to mount it back on the car. To make my job easier and clean properly around the valves, I also removed the easier valve and the intake manifold, and down there are the bolts which are holding them mounted onto the engine. There is not a very open space to work with, but it can be done with a little skill and patience. Here is the new gasket, and I'm going to apply some sealant onto the bottom of the gasket, onto the side which is touching the engine, as you can see. And you want to apply an even coat of sealant. Don't rush, take your time doing this. And if you want to make your job easier, you can also install the gasket onto the cover, and after that install the sealant right there, because in this way it will be easier, because you don't have to hold the gasket from not moving or falling all around. As you can see, this is how you can apply it while the gasket is mounted onto the cover. It's very easy like this. You just want to make sure it's an even coat, and after that you can mount it onto the engine. Don't worry, the gasket will not fall from the cover. It's into a special place and it's held in very properly. This is how it's looking, and all you have to do is to mount it onto the engine. Now all we have to do is to install the bolts back onto the cover, and when you're installing the bolts, make sure you don't tighten them too much, because it can easily break. After you're done with installing the bolts, you can put back the hose from the PC valve and the cover from the timing belt. Now it's time to install back the hose from the PC valve. Just take your pliers and pry the clamp a little, and after that mount it onto the valve. Now here it can be a little difficult to install properly the cover from the timing belt. You have to install it like this, everything need to be flush. Thank you for watching. If you like this video and found it informative, please leave a like and a comment down below. See you next time.